Hello again, welcome to Shapeshift 1.0 Workout B. We are focusing on arms, glutes, and core today. We have 6 moves, 3 sets. We're gonna get started with a warm-up. First thing we're gonna be doing is going nice and wide and doing our lateral lunge, warming up the legs, side to side, 30 seconds. Today you'll need a kettlebell or a heavy dumbbell. You'll also need some lighter weights, and you might also be needing a loopy band or ankle weights. A mat for core work for the floor. And that's all we're using today. 6 moves, 3 sets. And 3, 2, 1, we're gonna take it into side reach. So bend and straighten. Open up the rib cage, warm up the lats. Few seconds per side. One more time on this side, switching sides. Just bend and straighten, one side at a time. Few seconds left on this side. Hope everyone's in for a great workout today. Targeting arms, glutes, and core. All those targeted areas, all those areas that we like to see toned, stronger. Okay, we're gonna do some hip openers. So we're standing on one leg. The other leg, we're gonna be lifting the knee, hip height, open and close and down. So we're just doing some hip openers. Getting ready for our hip work we're going to be doing today during workout B. Up, out, down, and in. Up, out, down, and in. Warming up those hip joints. Opening up the hip for greater movement. And switching sides. We have some hip opening movement happening on the one side. And on this side, we have, of course, to keep our balance, we need a strong core. There's a little bit of core stability going on here for this move to keep ourselves nice and straight as we balance on the one leg. We're also going to be feeling the stabilizing leg. We're going to need to activate it, so we're going to be feeling some glute activation there to keep us in this pose so we don't fall over. Last rep on this side, and we're gonna go into some cross punch, side to side. Nice twist through the core. A warm up for the arms, since we are working our arms today, to make sure that we warm up all the muscle groups that we are gonna be using. We're almost done our warm up. We're almost ready to get into our circuit. Six moves, 3 sets. 60 seconds each. A few more seconds here for the punches. And 3, and 2, and 1. First move we're going to be getting started with is shoulder press. Now, if you can't do a shoulder press, you might find using a lighter weight, doing a side lateral raise might be better for you if you're not able to do overhead presses. Okay, so there's 2 different moves you can do for this one. I'm gonna be doing the shoulder press first, and then I'll switch down to the lateral side raise for the second round. And we're getting ready to get started. So we have our weights ready to go, and we have a nice wide stance, hip width apart, and go ahead, up and back down. Again, we talked about making sure that our range of motion is as big as it can be. So we don't want to be cutting our reps in half. We want to make sure we go all the way down and all the way up, and how important that is for results. If you're feeling tighter in those areas, there are stretches you can do. If you feel like you're really not able to get the best movement that you'd like, you have stretches, mobility work as well. That can help you open up those areas. Nice consistent flow of the reps, up and back down. If you're doing lateral raise, you're raising the weights from your side, level with your shoulder, and bringing them back down to your hips. We have a few seconds left. Last rep here, great. All right, and next we're gonna be going into our hip hinge kettlebell deadlift. I'm gonna make sure we secure our weight directly in between our feet. And we can start at the floor, or you might start standing. So I'm just gonna lift this weight up. I'm gonna start in a standing position. What we're doing here is we're making sure that we learn how to lift safely, strengthening the core, working the hamstrings and the glutes. So what we wanna do is set the shoulders, set the back, make sure everything is straight. Remember, we're bending forward. If this is a deadlift, we're bending forward with the weight and coming up. We should not be lowering ourselves into a squat. This is a deadlift. So please don't get the two confused. Move looks like this, and go ahead, 60 seconds. Make sure your back is nice and straight. Working our hamstrings and our glutes, keeping our shoulders back. Best judgment of weight here is if you feel like your shoulders are creeping forward, you need to use a lighter weight until you're able to stabilize that move. You're teaching the back to stay in straight posture. A few seconds left. Make sure we get all 60 seconds in. Feeling it in our glutes and our hamstrings. And last rep right here. When we're finished, we're gonna put the weight down. And we're gonna be moving to our bicep curls. So 60 seconds of arms. So we're going from upper body to lower body work, going back to upper body work using arms, going into basic bicep curl. I'm gonna give you the side view here. 60 seconds. And go ahead. Make sure our feet are about just wider than hip width apart. Make sure that your upper arms are glued to your rib cage. There shouldn't be any shoulder movement when you're doing a bicep curl. You should be isolating the move only to the elbow, making sure that we're only working our bicep muscles. All the way up, all the way down. Again, a common mistake is only going halfway down. Coming back up, you need to do a complete move to get the best results. So you have to find out if you can't get that complete move, why is that? Is the weight too heavy? Do you have to go lower in weight? When we're looking at our breathing pattern, the effort is in the bicep curl. So we're breathing out during the curl and breathing down, breathing out on the return. A few seconds left. Last rep right here. Great. Put this over here to the side. Next, we're going to be working our adductor muscles. You can use a loopy band for this, or you may use ankle weights. I'm going to do the first set with a loopy band. All right, so I'm putting my loopy band on, and we're going to be working our abductor muscles during this move. We're going 30 seconds per side. If you want to stand in midair with this, you can. It's always best, though, if you like, you can hang on to something for stability. We're gonna go 30 seconds per side and go ahead. Even if you find you have cable machines such as this one at your local gym or at your home, a lot of the times they have ankle cuffs. You can hook them up to your cable machine and do these ones right from a different machine. You don't have to use a band and you don't have to use ankle weights. A couple seconds left on this leg. And switching sides, I'm going to move away from the wall this time. We're going to be working out here with no supports, nothing to hold on to. A little bit of a game changer. Almost there. We're almost done. A lot of the times we might find that if we are doing movements such as squats, we find our knees are curling in. It is because our abductor muscles are a little weak, so we do need to do some work a couple times a week to strengthen those. That ensures that all your other movements like squats and lunges stay stable and you get the best results. Not only that, you can up your weights a little bit quicker when all the muscles are stronger and they can work together. Last rep right here. Okay, since we just worked our lower body, we're down to the floor working our core now. We're gonna be laying on our mat. I have my weights here to grab behind me. We're gonna be doing some overhead partial crunches. We did do these in our 0.5 series. This time we're gonna be doing it for a full 60 seconds. Laying on the floor, moving these out of the way. All right, lower back press to the floor. Feet are flat, knees are up, grabbing my weights. What we're doing here for the 60 seconds, make sure I check the clock. If you're into position, go ahead, lifting the weights above the chest, a partial crunch up towards the ceiling. What I'm doing here is I'm not lifting my full back off the floor, only the upper part, only the shoulder girdle am I lifting up the floor, coming back down and tap. So make sure that when you go back with your weights that your arms are as straight as possible because we are working our lats, so we're doing a pullover and up for the upper core, back down and stretch it out to tap the floor behind. Up, up, down, tap. A rhythm just like this. And the effort here is when we pull the weights up and push up to the ceiling. When we come down, that's the return. So we should be breathing out. Breathe in on the return. Few seconds left. Last one here, bring the weights behind you, leave them on the floor. Now we're gonna be going into either you get to choose between bicycles for your lower core, or you can do two kinds of leg lifts. You can do level 1 leg lifts, which is a heel tap, or you may do leg lift that requires you to lift the rest of your pelvis off the floor and back down. So choose the style that's best for you. Ready? And go ahead for 60 seconds. When you come back down to the floor, make sure everything in your lower core is stable. Make sure that you do have your lower back touching the floor when you come back down upon return. Nice, easy, controlled movements. Make sure I check our clock. A few more seconds. We're almost there. The lower core can be one of the hardest areas of the core to activate. So just do what you can. Work at your own pace, work at your own level. We have one more rep coming up here. Up, back down, and tap. Okay, so we just completed set 1. Workout B. Taking a sip of water. I hope you're hydrating at home. All right, we're getting ready to go into set 2. 60 seconds. Now, I did start with shoulder press, so you're welcome to continue with shoulder press. Then I'm going to be going into lateral side raise for the next set. Usually it's a bit of a lighter weight, so if you're doing a shoulder press, you might be able to lift more weight than you would be able to if you were doing a lateral side raise. If you're going to switch, you can go a bit lighter on the weight. And we're getting ready to go into set 2. Shoulders for 60 seconds and go ahead. When we're doing our lateral side raise, make sure that the weights are level with your shoulder and back down. Sometimes we have the tendency to go a bit higher with these. Another thing to watch out for is if your elbows are lower than your hands, it means the weight is too heavy. So make sure that whatever weight you're using, you're able to keep that arm mainly straight on the way up and on the way down. Nice and controlled. Make sure when you lower the weights, when you bring the weights up, make sure when you bring them down and lower them, nice and controlled. We don't want to bring the weights up and then let them drop to the floor. Make sure that you maintain muscle activation during the positive and negative contraction. And again, the effort is the lift, so we're breathing out on the effort, breathing in on the return. Last rep right here, and we're good. Great. Putting the weights down. Moving back into our hip hinge. So if you have the flexibility and the form already created, you can lift right from the floor. But if you're not able to get to the floor and keep your back straight, you're better off starting from a standing position. We're gonna get started with reps, so go ahead. 60 seconds. When you're working on the hip hinge form, it's not necessary to go all the way to the floor. The rule is only go as low as you can keep your back straight. I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute. If your hamstrings are restricted, you might only be able to go halfway, but do not bend your back just to touch the floor. Keep your back straight, and your range of motion will come week by week. So staying consistent, working at it, doing the stretching work in between workouts will ensure that you can open up that range of motion. So you'll be able to do the full movement. Another thing too, this isn't just a back workout. It's not just for glutes. A lot of this is core and upper shoulders. Training our posture to stay nice and straight as we learn how to lift properly and safely, not only in our workouts, but things that we do on a daily basis. Last rep here, up. Bring the weight safely down to the floor, keeping your back straight. Going back into bicep curls. And as soon as you're into position, as soon as you grab the weights, go ahead, keep the body moving. Notice that my upper arms are glued to my rib cage. All the way up and all the way down. Finding a nice steady rhythm for the repetitions. Breathing out on the effort, breathing in on the return. Keeping everything through the core stable. It's not just about the bicep curls. We have core working. We have hips that are stabilizing our core. We have shoulders and neck. So if you're feeling it in the neck and the shoulders, you might need lighter weights. If you're feeling a strain, feeling this movement in any other area except your biceps, you might need to lower your weight or do a bit of corrective work before you increase your weights. Last rep here, curl it, bringing the weights back down to the bench, moving into our core, down on the floor. Putting the weights on the bench. Hip abductor work. So I'm gonna be putting a band just above my knees this time. So I'm right here in the middle of the floor. Not really hanging on to anything, but if you choose, you can hang on to a bar or a chair or a wall, anything that you have. Working our one side for 30 seconds. Side leg raise, go ahead. 30 seconds per side. Staying as stable and as balanced as you can. Feeling nice activation there in the side glute muscle, the abductor muscles. Couple reps left for this side. Last rep, lift, lower, switching sides. If you're doing body weight, you might be lifting your leg a bit higher, or your reps might be a little bit faster. 30 seconds per side. We're almost there. Just hang in there. Stay as balanced as you can. 3, 2, and 1. Moving the band. Going to our core work, placing my weights on the floor for our overhead partial crunch, laying on our back, going into our overhead partial crunch. Make sure the lower back is pressed towards the floor. Make sure your arms are nice and straight. Getting ready for that straight arm pullover for the lats, for the triceps, that partial crunch for the upper core, and go ahead. Up, up, down, back. Breathing out on the push, up towards the ceiling. Breathing in when you lower the weights and come back down to the floor. When we do our pullover, make sure our arms are as straight as possible. Everything's working together, the lats, the triceps, the upper core. Push it up towards the ceiling, back down. Few seconds left. Goes pretty fast. Last rep. Up, back down, tap. Moving to our lower core now. The head and neck are going to stay on the floor. You get to choose between bicycle or any kind of a leg lift variation. Go ahead. Up, back down, and tap. As you're coming down, just focus on that control of the lower core. Make sure that back is touching the floor. If you're doing a bicycle, even if you're doing the heel taps, alternating legs, make sure that you're activating the core, lower back is flat down. If you have a hard time getting your lower back to touch the floor, you can roll up a towel or a mat and place it underneath your back for a bit more stability. About 15 seconds left. Just do what you can. Work at your own level. Last rep. Up, back down, and bring it up. Take a sip of water. Make sure you're staying hydrated at home during your workouts. Okay, moving into set 3. Grabbing our weights. I'm going to switch back to overhead shoulder press. You may continue to do the lateral side raise if you like. It's up to you. Whatever suits your fitness level, whatever one you like to do. 60 seconds of shoulders. Ready, and go ahead. We talked earlier about making sure we do full reps, making sure that our form is correct before we add weights, making sure that we're not feeling the movements in our other muscles other than the ones that are supposed to be working. So what I mean by that is any strain, any kind of pain, anything like that could indicate that you have some corrective work to do before you add or increase weights. All the way down, all the way up. Nice controlled, steady pace. Almost there. 10 seconds left. 10 seconds, about 2 or 3 reps. Last rep here. Bring it down. Great. We're moving into our side leg now. Putting our band around our knees. 30 seconds per side, and go ahead. The idea is we keep moving. Minimal breaks for transitioning, but as soon as we're ready, go right into the next move. Keeping our body moving for a full 60 seconds per exercise, increasing your endurance. Breathing in and out, making sure we're feeling some stability in the core. This one might be a bit of a balance issue, but just work at it, and each week you'll get stronger, you'll get more stable. Switching legs, go ahead. Nice and controlled. You're not only going to be feeling it on the leg that's raising, but you're also going to be feeling it in the stabilizing side. So you are working both abductor muscles while you're doing this move. It's not just the one side. And you're also going to be feeling it in your core. Last rep right here. Great, going back to the upper body for bicep curls. Giving you the front and the side view. I'll do 30 seconds from the front, 30 seconds from the side, in case you're still learning form. And go ahead, as soon as you have the weights ready, go right into the move. Breathing out on the curl, breathing in on the return. Arms are glued to the rib cage. Shouldn't really be feeling any strain in the shoulders or the neck. If so, you might have to keep the weights low until that goes away. And I'll switch to the side view. We're halfway through. All the way up, all the way down. Core is stable. I'm not grabbing momentum from my body. I'm not thrusting forward. I'm letting the biceps do all the work. Stretch and flex. And just think to yourself, stretching. Stretching means full range. And flex, all the way up, all the way down. Almost there. Last rep here. Great, bringing the weights down. And we're going into our hip hinge for our last set. Moving the weight over to where we need it. Getting our legs set a bit wider than hip width. Making sure we start with our weight. Shoulders are back, back is nice and flat, and go ahead, 60 seconds. Only go as low as you can keep your back straight. Do not bend your back to touch the floor. This movement must stay stable through the back the entire time. Working the hamstrings, working the glutes, working the core to stabilize the lower back. Keeping the shoulders back. If you feel any strain anywhere, lower the weight until your body gets used to, until those muscles get used to working together. Sometimes we have stronger upper body muscles. Sometimes we have stronger lower body muscles. Then maybe our upper body's a bit weaker. So we have to make sure that we're strengthening everything so it can finally start working together. We're almost done our 60 seconds. Last rep right here. Up, bring it down. Moving to the floor for our core. Getting ready for our overhead partial crunch. We're in our last two moves. Laying on the floor. Everything's nice and flat. Lower back's pressed to the floor. I have my weights above my head. 60 seconds. And go ahead. Up, up, down, nice and controlled. All the way back, tap the floor, stretching the upper core. Go at your own pace. Heavier weights, you'll be doing slower reps. More controlled. If you have lighter weights, you might be doing quicker reps. Feeling our lats working, our triceps, upper core for that lift. I'm not lifting my full back off the floor, only my shoulder girdle. The rest of it's on the floor. The back is stable and secure. 15 seconds left. Last rep right here. All right, returning the weights down to the floor, going right into our lower core. Maybe it's a bicycle for you. Just go right into it. Don't even wait 60 seconds. Let's get this workout done so you can move on with your day or your night or whatever it is you have to do. Let's just get it done. This is our last one. Final seconds of workout B. Give it all you got. Finish strong. Again, paying attention to that lower back stability, whatever movement you're doing, making sure that lower core is activated, you're feeling all those muscles working. We're almost there, almost done. 2 more reps, or maybe it's 1 more for you. Up, back down, and we're done. Grab a sip of water. And we're gonna be coming on up, going into our cool down routine. We're gonna work our hip flexors. Stretch our hip flexors. It's important to know that when we're doing core, it's a lot of hip flexor work, so we have to make sure we stretch them out. A few seconds per side. Inhale, exhale. Bringing the heart rate down gradually. And switching sides. Make sure that when you're doing this kneeling lunge, you find that your knees creeping past your toes. Step out a bit further. Reset yourself. Your knee should always be above your ankle. And getting a good stretch. You might even be feeling it in the hamstrings, maybe the glutes on the front leg. But for sure, we're really wanting to get that stretch in the hip flexors on the back leg. Coming down into tabletop cat and cow. Stretching out that back. Breathing out on cat, breathing in on cow. Loosening up everything from the neck all the way down to the hips. Getting a bit of mobility, some stretching, up into downward dog. Heels to the floor, grabbing that stretch along the back end of the legs. We worked our hamstrings during the hip hinge, so we want to make sure we stretch those out. We're going to add some knee bends here, a little bit of movement, back and forth, bending the knee in and back out. Helps to loosen up behind the legs, the hips. Bring it down to the floor, going into child's pose. We're stretching the lats now. After our overhead partial crunch, we're bringing our whole body forward and letting everything stretch out. Bring your head down to the floor if you can. Let it all rest, let it all settle. A few seconds down here on the floor. Inhale, exhale. Coming on up. Bring it back into a chest stretch. Pull it back and hold. Inhale, exhale. And down to the front view. Then we'll go side stretch and hold. Let's get our obliques, our lats. Inhale, exhale, switching sides. Hold it there. Inhale, exhale. Bring it up. Shoulder stretch across the body. Shoulder stretch there. Inhale, exhale, bring that arm above the head. Bend that arm back, the hand behind the neck, a little bit of a tug for the triceps. Inhale, exhale. Switching arms. Other arm across the body, nice stretch in the shoulder. And again, above the head, hand behind the neck, a little bit of a tug for the triceps. And we're good. All right, good work. You just finished workout B, Shape Shift 1.0. See you in the next workout.